the lefties in the entertainment industry just won't leave any area alone, right? They just have to seize control over every aspect, don't they?
They've got to make their mark, just like a dog in a dog walk park. You know, every dog has to mark every tree, right? So that's what's going on here.
That is what is left of Dukes of Hazzard star John Schneider talking about Beyoncé releasing a country song. And they think that an artist who makes music, making a song in a new genre, means that that's the left taking over everything. Or in the words of John Schneider, she is a dog marking things. You know, at a dog walk park. Has he ever been to a dog park? Who talks about them that way? But anyway, you get sort of the undertones of how he's approaching her. It's not just him, by the way, that's mad at Beyoncé for releasing a country song. An Oklahoma radio station was slammed for initially refusing to play it. Jasato on Twitter said, I requested Texas Hold'em at my local country radio station, KYKC, and after requesting, received an email from the radio station stating, we do not play Beyoncé on KYKC as we are a country music station. It is, of course, a country music song. It just is. Now, I get what they're really saying. Sure, it's country music, but she's a black woman. They're not allowed to do this. And that is why I knew that we had to talk about this. I have been trying to focus more on my commentary on what they have clearly found on the right to be socially acceptable pro-segregation talking points. They can no longer say, black people can't sit at the lunch counter with us. They can no longer say we have to have separate swimming pools, but they can so far still say there is a hard line where we have our art and you can't be a part of it. You don't get to be cast as the lead of movies. You don't get to do our music. You don't get to do any of this. And it's for people of color. It's for LGBTQ people as well. It is simply segregation that they think they can get away with. Rayyvana, what do you think about this? I don't know if you're a huge Beyoncé fan, if you've heard the song, but what do you think?
I'm a Beyoncé fan, actually, but I just kind of want to give people an example of why this is clear and apparent racism. Taylor Swift, who is not from the South, and love Taylor Swift. I don't want to catch the wrath of the Swifties. This is not a criticism of her. But Taylor Swift, who is from Pennsylvania, started her career making country music. She was a country music star before she became, a pop star. She's from Pennsylvania. Beyoncé is from Texas. She is from Texas. She has a strong connection to the South, to country music, and she's tapping into that when branching out into a new genre, but just reaching back into her roots to create it. So it's not about, oh, she's not from here, she doesn't get the culture, because inarguably she does. And they never levied that criticism against Taylor Swift. Back then, she was, one of their favorites before, she lost their good graces for a number of ridiculous reasons. But so it's just clear hypocrisy in those cases, but also it just goes to show that it is rooted in racism. I mean, Darius Rucker is the only, black country star, and he segued from a different genre, and he experienced racism. And people like to pretend that that didn't happen, but absolutely 100%. There was pushback before he was embraced in the genre.
And maybe that's what they're worried about. Maybe they're not worried that it's not country or it'll be bad country. Maybe they're worried that it'll be good country, that it'll be popular, that it might influence the genre, make it better. But in the meantime, it must be blocked. And by the way, John Schneider and whoever that host was on OAN are saying, like, basically, stay in your own lane. This is our music. We're not gonna say the word white, but we know what they're saying. How dare you cross the racial line to get involved in music that's not yours? And do you really want to open up that can of worms? Is it possible that if we go through American music history, we're able to find some white folks that maybe started dabbling in music that wasn't initially white music? Of course, there are many, many examples of that. Hell, even instruments, not just the songs themselves. The banjo was brought to America from West Africa by the transatlantic slave trade. It's now a signature instrument in country music. It has its origins amongst the enslaved. And of course, you've got Elvis Presley, going all the way back to Elvis Presley, all the way up to Eminem and a bunch of other people. There has always been, white musicians and singers who have dabbled, who have taken things and used them. And the issue isn't that there's this, sort of mixing of influences and things like that. It's when like credit isn't given and when it's only acceptable to be listened to at that point. And there's of course a lot of history there. We don't have time to get into it entirely, but maybe this is something for John Schneider to read about before the next time he talks about Beyoncé.